Hi everyone, my name is Mark Vong and I'm part of our technical marketing team here at Okta. And today I want to talk to you about how you can secure your Okta user identities in the Okta Customer Identity platform. Now, diving right into things, the very first feature that I want us to go over is called Authenticator Enrollment with recovery with authentication policies. Now, this allows us to effectively use the policies that we know and love within the Okta platform to create safeguards in place such that users who perform any sort of self-service functionality, whether it's self-service password resets, password changes, maybe unlocking accounts, all of which should have extra security measures. Now, being able to create these additional policies enables your administrators to effectively add those safeguards. So they have to essentially determine that, hey, your end users must go through additional verification before they're able to actually complete the process, whether it be, again, password resets, unlocking an account, or maybe changing their passwords to begin with. Some benefits, as noted here, highly defensive against any social engineering attacks with additional granular control over enrollment and recovery authentication flows, as well as multi-support for authentication flows for all of your different diverse user populations. Now, diving right into the demonstration here, and let's navigate to security, authenticators. Let's first go with the use case of a password user who needs to go ahead and maybe change their passwords, or they need to make some sort of edits. So opening up the password authenticator leads us to the password policy. And this is a predefined one that's defaulted. If clicking on the default role opens this interface up where we can actually see all the preset options here where users can perform in a self-service manner password changes, password resets, and I have unlock account disabled. And this specific rule currently uses a legacy rule, not the authentication policy, as I'm talking about right now with the new feature. So let's go ahead and cancel and add a new rule. Let's give it the name updated rule for recovery. And instead of this legacy rule, let's go ahead and set authentication policy. So we're going to go ahead and create the rule. And one more time, let's open the rule so that we can take a look at the account management authentication policy. So this is in addition to the app sign-in policy. So this is very much supplemental, but it solves the use case where a user may need that extra verification in order to complete a sensitive transaction. So in the sense of their user account. So again, unlocking their account, changing their passwords, maybe again, going through all those necessary flows from a self-service perspective. So opening up Okta account management policy, you can see there is a catch-all rule predefined where users are allowed forward with the progressive authentication with 2 factors is the default use case here. Let's go ahead and add a new rule where let's just do a single progressive factor where users can go ahead and proceed with their action after just doing a single verification. So let's go ahead and select any one factor type. And then we're going to scroll down, all the other options. Let's go ahead and leave as default and save this rule. Perfect. Single progressive factor has been saved. Let's now navigate back to the rule itself. And we're going to go ahead and hit update just to make sure it's saved. Just a quick review here. Let's go ahead and click on the enrollment tab. And let's go ahead and hit edit for the default rule where for this specific one for no password rules, you'll see the access is controlled by the same authentication policy. So for additional enrollments, all of which will be bound by that account management policy that we just created, which will precede the catch-all rule in order of essentially, operations or, which one will get fired first. So let's go ahead and hit cancel. And let's navigate to our sample application, Secure Bank. We're going to go ahead and hit login. Click next, go to forgot password. And now we can see here the user must go through a verification before they can reset their password. So instead of using the email, I'm going to go ahead and use Okta Verify. Now with Okta Verify, let's go ahead and take our 6-digit code and we'll do 278207, verify. And great, now we can set a password, a new password this time. So let's go ahead and set a new password, sign me out of all other devices, and then reset the password. Successful. Now we have the extra verification step that was required for the password reset for this individual user. So we were able to see that in action and have that process triggered through the Okta platform. Now let's go ahead and sign out and navigate back to our next topic. The next topic would be bot detection in terms of elevating or increasing the security of your Okta user identities. When we talk about this, what I mean is any sort of user journey, whether it's related to sign-in, whether it's related to registration, password recovery, we can enable a CAPTCHA and make sure that bots are detected and prevented from moving forward as needed. A huge benefit to this is, when the system is integrated within your Okta hosted sign-in widget and a non-human login is detected based on our machine learning models and so forth, and all the heuristics that are defined as part of the model itself, we'll go ahead and present that additional challenge or add that extra friction to make sure that the agent themselves have to be a human user, right? We don't want any bot simulated attacks on your hosted sign-in widget. So let's go ahead and navigate to a demonstration. And we're going to go ahead and click on, in the admin dashboard, the general tab. Clicking on edit for a CAPTCHA integration, you'll see I have already configured an integration with CAPTCHA with the site key and the secret key. Now all we have to do is pick the experience we want to enable CAPTCHA for. We have sign up, registration, right, password reset, as well as sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle sign up and sign in. Click next. And now let's navigate to our sample application back to Secure Bank. Clicking login, I can take a look with the same user after hitting next. I do get prompted for this CAPTCHA here, where it's a shape dragging mechanism where I'm forced to go ahead and match the other half of the shape. So let's go ahead and move that over and then hit verify. Once that is successful, I can now enter in my password. So let's go ahead and type in my password, and now I can successfully authenticate. So in that flow, the model itself determined that in that instance, I was potentially a bot. So it went ahead and pulled up the CAPTCHA for that, additional friction, where I was able to complete the challenge and proved that I was not a bot. Perfect. So let's go ahead and sign out, navigate back to our set of slides. The last feature I want to talk about is ThreatInsight. ThreatInsight is effectively a security feature within the Okta platform that uses a global network intelligence to automatically, detect first and foremost, and also potentially block, determining or based on the admin's preference, any malicious IP addresses. So this could be due to any credential-based attacks, something like password spraying or brute force attacks and so forth. Essentially, that respective IP address will be labeled as a bad actor. And from that point on, whether or not enforcement is enabled, the user, the agent, that bad actor will no longer be able to access any of your Okta endpoints, whether it be the end user dashboard, a custom application through a custom authorization server, all of which will be protected so that they wouldn't be able to access it to begin with. And you'll see there in the screenshot that the user or the admin can go ahead and kind of choose which level of action they want to take, whether it's going to be no action or just maybe log potential attempts from malicious IP addresses, or we can log and enforce, where that will actually actively block these bad actors from accessing your Okta tenant. So let's go ahead and dive into a demonstration here. I do have a sample script that I've pulled with the help of a couple of vibe coding agents. Effectively creating this script, I was able to emulate the notion of bots. So creating multiple bots here, let's go ahead and run the node script. Perfect. So navigating to no, perfect. Okay. So running the script, I can see that I have currently about, let's see, about 15 bots running. Now, once these bots are completing their respective processes, you'll see that eventually some of these start returning error messages. So we can see here that we're getting a 403 access forbidden. This tells me that my access to this Okta tenant has now been bound. I can no longer access this tenant from this IP address. It's been labeled as malicious. As an additional test, let's go ahead and navigate to our Okta tenant and take a look at, well, first and foremost, let's take a look at the ThreatInsight settings. We can see here, just as a reassurance, we were logging and enforcing any security-based threat levels, based on threat levels. Now we can see in the system log that, yes, from that respective IP address, any request from that suspicious actor from that IP again has been denied. And we can also verify by navigating to our sample application previously, Secure Bank, clicking on login. That would trigger historically a redirect to the Okta hosted sign-in widget. Now you'll see a 403 access forbidden. From this point on, this IP address has been labeled as a bad actor, and any access here on out will now be denied. The user, the agent, any bots additionally will be marked as such, and 403 redirects will now be in place. Now, again, one final verification, you see that specific event is logged within the Okta system log and access was denied. So I do appreciate the time. Thank you so much for sticking around. Be on the lookout for additional videos on how we can further enhance and secure your Okta user identities within the Okta Customer Identity Cloud platform. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.